Hi, and welcome to another lesson of the Excel for Absolute Beginners course. This is chapter 3, and in chapter 3, we are looking at formatting cells and worksheets. The first lesson of chapter 3 is lesson 14, which means we are still continuing with the previous lessons. So if you're yet to watch the previous lessons, do to watch them so that you get a better understanding of the basis of Excel. In lesson 14 of the course, we are looking at setting font and text decorations. So you are going to look at how to set font styles, font size, the font color, how to change the cell fill color, how to set borders for your cells, as well as some effects that we can apply in Excel. All right, this is our spreadsheet as usual, and let's just type anything at all. Then we'll try applying the various styles that we've mentioned here. So let me go ahead, type my name here and zoom more into it so that you can see exactly what's happening. This is the text that you have input into a cell and you want to apply some form of formatting to the cell. On the ribbon, make sure you have the home tab selected as I have now, and right here is the font group. So if you watch the very first chapter, you would learn about the ribbon and the commands here. So this is a font group, and we are going to look at all that the font group will help us to do. So basically, when you talk about the font style, if you want to change the font style, you need to select this or just click on the cell, make sure the cell is active. By active, you would have clicked on it and the name will show in the name box right here. So go ahead and change by using this drop down. You will see various fonts. So as you can see, as I'm hovering upon it, the name is changing. So maybe I should write it somewhere else so that it becomes very visible. I go ahead and let's say change this. So as you can see, when I hover over any of the stars, it changes. Okay, so we could do that with any font at all. So if you have your own favorite fonts that you like to use for your content, then that is how you go about changing the font. Okay, so that is for font style. Now let's look at font sizes. Just beside the font style, you have the size, and as you can see now, it is 11, and we can click on the drop down to increase to any number or decrease it to any number we want. We can as well click within and type what we want there. And after you finish typing what you want, just click enter and it will take effect. The fastest way to also increase the font size is by using this tool here. So this A on the right side will decrease the font size, whilst this on the right side will, or on the left side will increase the font size. So you can use any of them as and when you want. The next kind of styles that we look at is the bold, italic, and underline. So those are pretty common features that you are likely to engage when you are working in a spreadsheet. You may want to bolden or italize some items. So let's say if I want to apply the italic to my surname, just come here and click on it. You can also underline it by clicking on it. With the underline too, there is a drop down that you can apply to use a double underline. So this can be done and you can undo it with that single underline. You can undo that as well. If you want it bolding, that is a bolding. And there are keyboard shortcuts that you can equally use to get any of these three. So the keyboard shortcut for bold is Control B. That's how I've applied it. If you want to unbolding it, then you continue to click on the Control B again. So Control B, Control I will italize it, and Control U will underline it. So if you want, so depending on what you want, and you use the same shortcut to undo. So if I no longer want this to have the underline, I'll still use Control U. If I don't want it to be italicized, I'll use Control I. Now to the fill, self fill, basically font color. Let's talk about the font color first. With the default font color in Excel is black. So black as against a white background, as you can see, but we can change the font color to any color that we want. So this A here is a font color. If you press on it, you see that it is red underline here, telling us that the color that is active now is red. So go ahead and apply red. If I don't like red and I like any of these, just click on the drop down beside it and choose any of the colors that you want applied. So we can do same to this and change the color to one that we like. Same with this. The next thing that we want to do is we've been able to change the color of the text itself, but what of the background? So background color, that is the self-fill color. With that, you come here and you see the paint bucket here, that's the fill color. So when you click on it, currently it is the yellow color that is active. So if I click on it, my background becomes yellow. If I don't want the yellow background, I can use a drop down and choose any of these as my background. Let's do the same with this, change the background color. Good. So that is how to change the fill color and the font color as well. The next thing is the cell borders. So these cells can have borders around them, which will be active if you choose. So this is where you change the border. Select this and choose any of the borders. Do you want to show the border for the button, the top, the left, or all of them? So for now, let's just try with all of them. And when I click away, you see that now there is a border around this, unlike these ones. So let me choose this one too, or let's write something else here and put a border around it for you to see. So without the border, this is how it looks. It's just the Excel grids that you are seeing, but with a border, if you should activate all borders around this and click away, you realize that now it stands out. So you are able to see a special border around it, and this is where you get your border. If you want thick borders, you click on this and it will take in the borders for you as well. And you can also come here to change the color of the border and as well as the size or style for the border. You can do that here. Okay, so that is for border. If you no longer want the borders, then just go and select no border, but make sure a particular cell is selected. And also note that you can apply the border on multiple cells. So if I want it around everywhere I have text, let's say from here to here, I want the border around it, I'll go ahead and select all. Then just as you can see now, we have borders around them. There is the last set of formatting that we want to learn how to do, and that is to engage some form of special effect with our content. To bring that one up, we need to activate this dialog box launcher. So this small icon here, when you click on it, it brings you to the format cell dialog box where you can apply those effects. So basically almost the settings or styles that we have learned earlier, you can equally do in here, but the special effects I'm talking about here are these particular ones: strike through, superscript, subscript. So if you want the write-up or whatever text you have there to appear as a subscript, then you come to check this particular checkbox. If you want it as a superscript, this. If you want a strike through, then you use this. Once you are satisfied with what you want, then you go ahead to click OK to apply them. So this is how we format the text in our cells. I'll see you in the next lesson.